What up, big dogs? It's your boy D2 Titans only, and today I'm bringing you the only Prismatic Titan build you will ever need for Grandmaster Nightfalls. If you enjoy this build, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can see more builds like it. Let's jump right in. Are you tired of instantly dying, not being able to kill any adds, or do insane boss damage? Well, I was too, until I found this build, and lucky for you, I'm willing to share it. For this build, we will be using the Prismatic subclass with a Titan Void Super Twilight Arsenal. Twilight Arsenal is going to provide us with two main benefits. The first is weakening enemies upon impact, which will make them take 15% more damage, and it blinds them. The second benefit we're going to get is, you guessed it, a ton of damage that is going to help us deal with bosses and champions. For our abilities, we'll be using Rally Barricade for increased reload speed, increased flinch resist, and just something to hide behind when times get tough. The best in-class Titan jump ability, Strafelift, Frenzied Blade, which will give us 3 empowered melee abilities that sever our targets, and the Strand Shackle Grenade, which we'll be using to string up our enemies and keep them from harming our fire team. Next, let's talk about our aspects. For our first aspect, we'll be using Consecration, which allows us to activate our powered melee while sliding and launch a wave of solar energy forward. And if we reactivate while we're in the air, it's going to slam down and literally destroy everything in our wake. And for the second aspect we're going to be using, it's going to be Dranger's Lash, which is going to empower Rally Barricade and allow it to create a Strand Ripple that also strings up enemies and keeps them from attacking us. Now, let's jump into our fragments. The first fragment we are going to use is the Fragment of Balance. The Fragment of Balance is going to give us melee energy for rapidly defeating targets with light energy, and provide us with grenade energy for rapidly defeating enemies with dark energy. This is going to be key for getting Transcendence as much as possible. The second fragment we are using is the Facet of Generosity. This facet allows us to create orbs of power on enemies that we defeat while we are transcendent. I've probably generated over 100 orbs of power with this fragment alone. It is absolutely insane. Our third fragment is going to be the Facet of Blessing. The Facet of Blessing forces our health to regenerate anytime we get a melee final blow. And if we are transcendent, it also begins to regenerate our allies' health as well. If you don't want to die, this fragment is an absolute must-have. For the fourth fragment, we are going to be using the Facet of Purpose. The Facet of Purpose is going to grant us an overshield anytime we pick up an orb of power, and it is going to help with survivability. The fifth fragment we are going to be running is the Facet of Dawn. The Facet of Dawn is going to allow us to become radiant anytime we hit a target with a powered melee. Final blows with powered melee abilities will make us and nearby allies radiant, making it easier to deal with barrier champions. And for our sixth and final fragment, we're going to be running the Facet of Mending, which is going to allow our grenade final blows to grant cure. And while Transcendence is active, the strength of this cure is going to be increased. Now that we have gotten our subclass out of the way, let's talk about how we are going to be dealing with champions. For our artifact mods, you want to make sure you have Unstoppable Pulse Rifle and Anti-Barrier Shotguns. We won't be running into a lot of overload champions, but when we do, you can utilize your Shackle Grenade and Dringer's Lash to string them up and take them out quickly. Since we are using Anti-Barrier Shotgun, we're going to be running a shotgun in our primary weapon slot. I opted for the Swordbreaker with 1-2 Punch and Pugilist, which increases our melee damage and our melee regeneration. For our secondary weapon, we are going to be using the Pulse Rifle, the Graviton Lance, which absolutely nukes everything in its path. The Graviton Lance has a weapon perk called Cosmology that activates whenever you kill targets with it. Once a target dies, it spawns void projectiles that detonate and track to nearby targets, doing damage and killing them. It also has an intrinsic trait called Black Hole, which allows the second shot of a burst to rip a hole through space and time, doing high damage and recoil, no fall off. And since grenade launchers are still great in destroying everything in Nightfalls, we are going to be using the Edge Transit with Bait and Switch and Auto-Loading Holster as our heavy weapon. Moving on from our weapons, let's talk about our armor mods. For our helmet, we are going to be running Harmonic Siphon so that our weapon final blows with the Graviton Lance grant us orbs of power, Heavy Ammo Finder, and Special Ammo Finder so we never run out of ammo. For our gauntlets, we are going to be using Firepower and Heavy Handed so that our grenade and melee final blows grant us orbs of power. For our chest piece, you will need to run the resistant mod that fit the activity you are running, and Concussive Dampener so you don't get annihilated by things that explode. For our leg armor, we are going to be running Better Already and Double Absolution for better health regeneration and ability cooldown upon picking up orbs of power. And last but not least, for exotic class armor piece, we are going to be running the Stoicism with the perks Spirit of the Inmost Light and Spirit of the Scars. Spirit of the Inmost Light is going to allow us to empower our abilities anytime we use an ability, granting them energy regeneration, This pairs really well with Transcendence, and you will always feel like you have your abilities up and running and ready to use. And then, Spirit of the Scars is going to allow final blows with weapons that have a damage type that matches our super to create bursts of healing around us and our allies. You will literally never die with this when you use it. For your stat rolls, you want 100 resilience, 100 strength, and 100 discipline, if possible, so that you can be tanky and cycle all your abilities as much as possible. I hope this build helps you all get through Grandmaster Nightfalls like it did me. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this video, and as always, peace!